Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Denver, Colorado, it's time for Franchise Bible Coach Radio. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Franchise Bible Coach Radio with Rick and Rob. I'm your host, Rob Ganley. My co-host, Rick Grossman, couldn't make it today. He is the author of the Franchise Bible, and I'd just like to thank him as well, and sorry that he couldn't make it. But before I introduce our special guest today, I wanted to thank our special sponsors. So first and foremost, Entrepreneur Magazine for their support on the show and the book, as well as SEO Samba. SEO Samba is an award-winning multi-location content marketing platform that's built for the franchise industry so that franchisors and franchisees can collaborate and work together to grow their brand. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce our special guest, Ann Huntington. She is the president of Huntington Learning Centers. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you for having me. And thank you to Rick. Although he's not here, thank him for me as well.
I will do so. We absolutely love having you here. And, you know, again, as I launch these shows, one of the favorite things I like hearing is how you got to be where you are, how the brand started, how you became president, all those things. Could you share a little more about the brand and about who you serve?
Sure, absolutely. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this great podcast. I'm Ann Huntington. I'm the president of Huntington Learning Center. Huntington Learning Center is the nation's leading tutoring and test prep provider. We service the K through 12 market, and we provide basic skills, subject tutoring, SAT, ACT, different test prep. We can really help students reach their potential. How it all got started? It got started 43 years ago by Dr. Ray and Eileen Huntington, who actually are my parents. So during holidays, their mom and dad at work, they're Eileen and Ray. Eileen was a tenured teacher and Ray was a business analyst. And in the 70s, they saw potential. They saw that there was a need for students to learn more than what they're learning in school. School is fantastic. That said, it's not individualized to meet every student's need. So how could my parents help more students? So they founded Huntington Learning Center. And from June of 77 to today, we have expanded and we continue to expand to help as many students as possible. And how we do it, we're a mission-driven company. So our mission is to give every student the best education possible. And that's what we do each and every day. How I became president in October of 2019. So I am a COVID time president. I started with Huntington about 8 years ago and started as a consultant, then a director, worked my way up, and now I'm president. Prior to Huntington, I had a whole career outside of the family business. It was really important to get as much experience as possible before joining the firm.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And so let me ask you a little bit more about the brand, because raising two kids, and thankfully, well, you're never done being a parent, right? But basically, they're 16 and 18. And I remember, you know, a lot of the decisions I made through the years, right? And how important it was to entrust that to a group, wherever they're getting the education, however they're being supported throughout their day and their journey. But tell me a little bit about, you know, what makes you unique? What would you say if there's something you could pull out that makes your approach a little different?
We get results. And that's
I like that.
Key. That's the absolute key. When you are dealing with students, when you're dealing with education, you want to make sure that you understand what the student is learning. So our entire methodology, which is a prescriptive methodology, it's proprietarily built, but it builds on skills, confidence, and motivation. So each student who comes into a Huntington Learning Center, and we're all across the country, so we can help lots and lots of students. Every student starts with an academic evaluation, which pinpoints exactly where the student is performing academically. That's essential. Families need to know, okay, how is my child performing? What level is my child at? Okay, they're having issues with word problems in math. Maybe it's a reading comprehension issue. So from that test, then we build a personalized learning plan. And from there, then we make sure that the families know how the student is progressing. So we bring the families in at different checkpoints. And we take it a step further. We also bring the schools in. We want the teachers in the schools to know how the student is progressing at Huntington. And then, of course, if the student, and you're in this world right now for SAT, ACT prep, that's also the student comes in and takes a practice test, and we build a customized learning plan so that the student can reach his or her goals.
Yes, we are in that world. So I'll have to give it some thought. So we'll see what their needs are, but we are in that world right now. So I appreciate that. So it's been an interesting year, hasn't it? And, we can't get away from what we're all going through as a collective group, as Americans, right? And the economy. And, we're obviously in the franchise industry, and we get to talk to a lot of people that are leading brands and growing brands and serving customers and trying to do all that, right, in the midst of this pandemic. So let's try to break it down. There's a lot of angles here, a lot of things, but we'll start with leadership. And, tell me a little bit about how you've approached, how you approached leading your network, your franchisees through the challenges of lockdowns, and what do we do, and what do we say to parents and all that? How have you worked through that?
Well, every day is a new day. That said, one of the beautiful things about franchising is there's systems and processes. So our entire nationwide network of franchises knows that it's part of something larger. And that network, the brand standards, are all really important, especially in a time of crisis. And right now, going through the pandemic, first off, thankfully, we're here. So it's very good that we're healthy and we're working and doing what we need to do. As the president of Huntington Learning Center, whether it's today, which is December 10th, 2020, or it was the middle of March 2020, the key is communication. Letting everyone in the Huntington community know that we are here to support. As president, I am here to support the entire system. And how that trickles down, it's through communication. So from day one of the pandemic, it was essential to make sure that we communicated, and we meaning the collective we, and then also I was communicating daily with the entire system, sending out emails to the entire system as to what was going on. And then also as a leader, it was important to really weigh fact versus fiction. So there's so much emotion, so much unknown. There's no playbook for a pandemic, at least there wasn't in March, though I'm sure that some people will be writing books about it soon. It was really important to base decisions on fact. And as the leader of the company, I had to make really tough decisions, but it was for the benefit of the overall community. And then also make sure to get opinions from others. So in franchising, there are different councils and boards. So most franchises, if not all, should have a franchise advisory council. So we were working with our franchise advisory council multiple times a week, especially in the beginning. Now we meet with them bi-weekly. So the key really to lead through any crisis, especially a pandemic, is communication. It's making sure to weigh fact versus fiction, make tough decisions, but know that the decisions are based off of the mission and what the goals of the company are.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think we heard communication and over communicate a lot, right? From almost every leader. It's like, we don't want to leave anything to interpretation. We're going to lead, we're going to communicate, and we'll do it daily, or multiple times a day if we need it. And I often talk about, franchising being that model that was built almost for these types of things, right? I mean, the network, the power of all the people that you have in your network and in your brand working for each other is a better place to be than an independent, right, business owner. So that's a great thing, but still challenging for all of us. Is there anything that you feel like, wow, we learned some things, we made some changes? Is there anything that you would share that we would say, we're glad that we're doing that now? Like we probably will continue to do that. It's a new innovation, either internally or externally with your customers. Is there anything you adapted that you're saying, yeah, that was actually, we're going to keep doing that?
Absolutely. So if we back track a little bit. Our national convention in 2019 was in October of 2019. And we ended the convention sharing that 2020 was a year of clarity, 2020 vision, here we go. And so as we wrap up 2020, I think this year really has been a year of clarity and 2020 vision, because we have had to innovate. We have had to disrupt and transform. Now, if we think about it, Huntington is the pioneer learning center, and we were founded 43 years ago in 1977. Guess what? There was no internet back then. So at the beginning of the crisis, it was, how do we make a brick and mortar franchise concept? How do we bring us online? And that's what we had to do in a matter of days. We had to completely transform our systems, processes to help our franchisees and our customers, families across the country, should they not be able to step through our physical doors, that they could go on our virtual platform. So that was huge. We had to completely transform the company. So I like to say that we're a 43-year-old startup. And then we realized families, and you're living this right now, families, especially parents, are now having to homeschool, help with remote learning, manage working at home, helping children, potentially helping different family members. So how do we help those families in this time? So we launched a new program called Huntington Study Hall. So it enables students to attend their virtual schools at one of our accredited centers. We're accredited by the same accrediting bodies that accredit the schools. So a student can come attend their virtual school at one of our centers and be proctored by a certified Huntington teacher. So we kept thinking, what are the problems that we are facing today as societal problems in terms of remote learning, and how can we help more students? So we started rolling out whole new business lines. And those are just two. We have a few others. We have homework help. We have performance coach, because students need help with executive functioning skills, with organization. So we added on to our already awesome programs.
Yeah. No, I feel like, it's not the kind of nudge you want, but man, it really opened the door to innovation. And I believe that this would have been necessary for businesses to transform anyway, right? Given our habits, the way we're interacting with our digital devices. And, it just was a matter of time before these additional services would have been in demand, right? And the fact that we're thinking through how can we help families? So what can we do in this virtual world for them, right? And structure that as a service. And you were just rattling off a few things. I'm thinking, yeah, I think my kids need that, right? Like they could probably use a couple of things like that. And not just because of this year, just in general. This in business too, sometimes when you have a linchpin or you're stuck, it's nice to have a lifeline or a community to be connected to. And nowadays that's virtual, right? It can be virtual and it can be on demand, and it can be, all day, every day, if obviously as time evolves, right? But the point is that's great that, you're kind of forced to think through that new way of doing things. So with that being said, is there, like right now for your situation, and I would think are you considered essential?
It's state by state.
It's state by state?
Depends
Okay.
on what the governor states.
Gotcha. And so, so it's state by state, just whether you're doing full virtual or whether you're doing some in person? Is it a mix right now, or?
All of our centers right now are open.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So, all right. So now I know that for a lot of brands, it was important for them to over communicate, right? During this time, not just with their network or their franchisees, but also with their customers. So what were some of the things that you guys implemented to help the customer feel more safe, more comfortable doing business with your brand?
Great question. So we adhere to the CDC and government guidelines. So it depends, of course, state by state, but the franchisees must adhere to the CDC and government guidelines. In franchising, one of the great aspects of franchising is their brand standards. So we, of course, added to our brand standards and updated our systems and processes. We also added to our communication plan for customers at the local, regional, and national level. So at the local level, it was different signs. So it could be as simple as a sandwich sign that goes outside, different signage for the actual centers. Are they open? Are they open online? Different ground signs. Huntington's now offering online. So we provided tremendous collateral for our franchisees. So at the local level, they could inform their customers that regardless if the doors were open or not, Huntington could help, and Huntington launched an online platform. At a regional level, the regional co-ops worked together to ensure that the monies for advertising were allocated appropriately. So that could be making sure that the SEO keywords, different platforms on Google needed to know that we were now online. So if Google said you were closed, your center, we needed the customer to also know that we're open online. And national level, from the Advertising Fund Board, we reallocated our funds, our budget for 2020, and we created a COVID budget. We actually rolled out 2 commercials which talk about the crisis in education. And it's not us saying the crisis. We quoted different notable news outlets that share stats on what's going on. And then we created new pieces, direct mail and radio and other pieces for the centers to be using. So we continue to over communicate to our consumers so that they knew that we were there. In addition, because it's tough right now as just being a person. So we realized that we needed to provide resources to families who might not be Huntington families. So we created at least once a week different free webinars for folks to listen to. And we partnered with different organizations such as the Learning Disabilities Association of America, which I'm on the board of, different psychologists, mental health experts to discuss topics of anxiety, mental health. How is it with remote learning? What should you do right now? Should you take the SAT, ACT? So we have a whole catalog of these free resources for families because we all want answers, and you want to go to a trusted brand to get those answers.
Wow. Well, the first thing I thought of when you were answering that question is it's good to be a franchisee, right? I mean,
good to be a Huntington franchisee.
That's right, a Huntington franchisee. Because, I mean, when you think of all the things that had to be addressed to do it properly, all the things you rattled off and made seem easy, it just wouldn't be done. It would not be done by a local business owner. You wouldn't be able to get it done. But to be able to pivot and provide that kind of support is huge. And then to give back to the community. And again, you're an education, that's what you are, right? You're an educator. And, people do look to you for that, right? They, who am I going to trust, and who is under the most scrutiny and the most accountable to really educating properly? And that it's institutions like yours, right? It's brands like yours. So that's tremendous that you offered that. So pivoting a little bit in the conversation, being that, so you've gone through this time, you've adjusted, you're obviously doing some innovative things now with digital online learning, which is great because, like I said, that would have been more and more anyway. So now you're ready. Tell us a little bit about how you're outlooking the future for the brand in terms of your franchise development activities. Are you still aggressively looking to grow in 2021, the same as you were? We're hearing a lot. I mean, we feel like franchising is like that shining light really for a lot of folks because they're leaving, maybe their corporate world's disrupted, maybe their job, maybe they don't have a job. It's like, where do I go now? And where can I go where I have a little bit more stability, right? Potentially, all right? So what are your thoughts on growth for your brand?
I think everyone should go to huntingtonfranchise.com and see if Huntington's the right franchise opportunity for them. And I know you're associated with Entrepreneur Magazine, which is a fantastic source. And we've been part of the Entrepreneur family for a long, long time. So first and foremost, check out Huntington. We are, and I am extremely optimistic for the future. I think when there is uncertainty, folks look for brands that have the backing, have the results, have the integrity and systems, and that's Huntington. So in terms of franchising, franchising is our present and our future, and we have very aggressive goals for next year and years to come. And now with all of the disruption that has occurred this year in terms of systems, processes, getting Huntington online, and building it out, now is a great time because all of our systems and our infrastructure keep on getting better and better. So we are investing extremely heavily in our infrastructures and on IT, which is really fantastic for a franchisee who's looking for a system that has the results and then also continues to innovate and pivot. So the outlook for 2021 is extremely bright, and we're setting ourselves up for success. We're in the final stages of our budget review for 2021. So I know that next year is going to be excellent. If someone can see me, I'm shaking my head. It's going to be our best yet.
She's shaking her head and her arms, and
Yeah.
No, I hear you, and we feel the same way. I mean, we feel like this is a different kind of economic situation, downturn, whatever you want to refer to it as. One that I think the rebound and the way we pivoted could be very, very a good time for a lot of folks. So we're very bullish about it. We're looking forward to it. So with all that, right, it's been a big year, 2020 vision, right? I like that. So with all of that, what is there like a gold nugget? Is there as we wrap things up today, is there something that you just feel like either something you always carried with you, but now it really came to be true? Tell us a little bit. Is there a gold nugget you could leave with the audience that you just feel like, man, this is something that I really believe in, something that really helped me?
Sure. I have two, Rob. The first is anything is possible. I think that this time has shown us that truly the impossible is possible. And so in the beginning of March, when the team, and of course we were adhering to CDC and government guidelines, and we were social distancing, we were still in person. And I said, okay, we're taking us online. And everyone was like, not everyone, but some folks were like, no, we can't. I said, no, make the impossible possible. And we did. So I think the golden nugget is a lot of it's mindset and a lot of it is focus and planning. When we focus and we plan and we have the right team and we communicate, anything truly is possible. In addition to that, the saying, trust but verify, you need to trust but verify. You need to make sure that what you are saying is accurate. And if it's not, then you need to go back and you have to fix it. So trust but verify, and anything is possible.
The trust but verify is something I'm very accustomed to that saying and believe in it wholeheartedly. So that's fantastic. I really appreciate your time today with us. And so just before we let you go, is there a website or a place you can direct folks to if they want to learn more about your brand?
Absolutely. If you're interested in franchise opportunities, definitely go to huntingtonfranchise.com. If you're interested in tutoring or test prep, go to huntingtonhelps.com. So it's huntingtonhelps.com, huntingtonfranchise.com.
Makes it easy. There you go. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Ann. It was a pleasure. And so I want to thank our audience for listening in today. Hope you're having a good day. Once again, thanking our sponsors and our support, Entrepreneur Magazine, SEO Samba. You can visit them at seosamba.com. And so thanks again to the audience. Remember, we like to leave the audience with this: keep fighting the good fight. There's a lot in store for 2021, and we're looking forward to it. So thanks again, and bye for now.